This meeting in order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next regular meeting is scheduled for Friday, February 24th, 2017 at 9 a.m. at the Community Center, 3500 Edgewater Drive. Please silence or turn off your cell phones. The consent agenda, minutes of the regular Board of Supervisors meeting held Friday, January 27th, golf financials and treasurer's report, December 2016. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Chrissy?
Comments
Go
from the
on.
board. Comments from the board.
Comments from the board.
Yeah, I got one comment, but I can't find my piece of paper. Just give me a second.
Okay, take your time.
Getting paid by the hour, are we? Well, I can't find it, but I'll bring it. It was on in the financials under revenues. I noticed that there was no revenue generated for the GPS promotional system, which, just to remind everybody, back when we decided to do that, we upgraded from the basic GPS to the full screen GPS, and it cost us $80,000. And at the time, Ron Wunderling and David Ford from Casper Golf said they could make that money back in 4 years by selling advertising as a promotion. So that was basically $20,000 a year we were supposed to get back. And I think the first year we got pretty close to $30,000 back in advertising. And so I'm just looking for an update in terms of why we show zero on the finances right now.
Jim's walking in right now. I don't know if we
Okay.
should ask him.
Go straight.
Hi, Jim. We got a question for you.
I was questioning the GPS revenue, which on the balance or on the revenue statement, it shows zero income, and I just asking for an update in terms of where you were on that.
Sure. Right now, we've got approximately a little bit over $10,000 signed up on the revenue coming in. Ridge Real Estate has renewed for $5,000 that they're paying monthly. Bargain Carts has signed up for $2,500. Heartland Bank has signed up for $1,700. And Allstate is determining between a mid-sponsorship, which is $2,500, and a full sponsorship, which is $5,000. We also have a contract for an extension of our maintenance agreement with the GPS company, which is actually DSG Tag, that would decrease our outlay approximately $3,000 a year, actually $3,050. So with all those together, we're about at a $15,000 mark now, and our goal is to get to 20 or even higher. So we're on the way, but we still need. We're working on trying to develop, I would say, greater promotions to pull more people in. The GPS has a nice allure for the initial presentation to people of the product. The hard part about the GPS is that it really doesn't sell through to the vendor as saying, I got this client from the GPS. So what we're trying to do, like with Allstate, one of the things that we think we can bring to Jessica Hartline, which is her business is within Sun and Lake, so it's a natural fit for us as her being a sponsor, is to get her involved with like our Chicks with Sticks program and get more personal interaction out of our club sponsorships, because while we call it a GPS sponsorship, it really is a whole package when you look at what we offer with website advertising and Facebook advertising and all those other things. So, but right now we're right around the $15,000 mark, and have our goal to get to 20,000.
All right, thanks.
Anything, anybody else? Public comment? Okay, good.
Supervisor McCullough?
Yes.
Supervisor White?
Yes.
Supervisor Edgel?
Yes.
Supervisor Camp?
Yes.
President Gilpin?
Yes. Okay, we're moved to the agenda. Item number B, oh, no, wait a minute. We'd like to move action agenda number E to first one, so do we need a roll call for that, or just do it?
We don't need a motion.
Okay.
I just want to be sure that both architects are here.
Yeah, this is a
Okay.
continuation of the architecture services that we put out an RFP for. We had 7 firms that were interested and submitted a proposal. We've given you the internal valuation scores. KCMH Architects and CMSA Architecture ranked the top 2. Both of these firms are here today to provide a small presentation for the board. We're going to go ahead and let CMSA go first, and then KCMH can go after.
Okay. It's this one.
Good morning. Does this sound good? Everybody can hear? My name is Cliff Scholes. I'm the founder and namesake of CMSA Architects. We're an architectural firm in Sarasota, Florida. We have been, this is our 25th year in business, and this is my, I've been in Florida since 1976, and so I guess I'm considered a native by now. Our firm is comprised of 6 total people with 2 contract people, architects who work for me, so a total of 8 people. I'm the primary designer. I do approximately 95% of the design work in the office. We're very happy to be here this morning to show you some of our work, briefly acquaint you with what we do. Our work is both commercial and residential. I would say half of our work is custom residential work. The other half is commercial work, golf country clubs, tenant upfitting, and commercial buildings on their own. The PowerPoint presentation I brought here, it's fairly brief, but it shows you some of the work that we've done in the past relative to country club work. And right now, well, for the last 25 years, 30% of our work has been renovation work. Currently, about 50% of our work is renovation work. We have, I particularly like renovation work. I don't like throwing things away. I like to repurpose them. But as well, you have to be smart about that, make sure that your return on investment is correct for what you do. I'm particularly interested in design. The work that we do has typically some historical significance, architectural wise, and we can get this going. Are we? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that it? Okay, sorry about that.
Omar, take the battery out.
Every time you click, it's going to go to the next slide.
Omar.
Okay, this gives you a little background on myself. I'm a licensed registered architect in the state of Florida and about 4 other states as well. I'm also a licensed general contractor, Class A, in the state of Florida. I don't practice the contracting too much because I stay busy enough with the architectural end of it, but I do understand construction, and I understand how to work with contractors. I'm just going to go here. Is the green button? There we go. This shows you some of the work that we've done, and these are projects in Florida and outside of Florida. The yellow highlighted ones are the renovation work. What's happening these days is clubs that we did 20 years ago, we've been renovating them, and a lot of them at that 20-year mark tend to go through some major renovations. And also when clubs are originally developed by developers, then turned over to the landowners, there's usually a renovation at that time. We see about every 7 to 8 years a club needs to look at their facilities, see if they need to freshen it up or revise it or make some changes. About every 15 years, 15 to 20 years, we see a club go through some what I would consider maybe major renovations just to stay up with the times. This is the first club I'd like to show you. This is Southern Woods Country Club up in Homosassa, Florida. And looking at that past slide, we do the entry gatehouse work, the signage. We like to really go through clubs and try to get that total feel all the way through the club from a design standpoint. Here's the project, Southern Woods Country Club, about 12,000 square foot country club. Up in Homosassa, they do have a little bit of topography, more than we have down here. So we're able to go in at the main level on the front, and then the back level we pop out with our cart storage down below. This is another one. This is a Plantation Golf and Country Club in Venice. This was a major renovation we did. We did not do this originally, but they had issues with their dining facilities. They weren't able to keep up. Fairly similar issue. The kitchen was not big enough to facilitate their success. And also they were looking to capture some of the local banquet opportunities. And at the time in Venice, there wasn't a lot of competition. So the renovation really was the kitchen as well as one of the dining facilities as well, and this was the result. We did work with Fishman and Associates on the food service end of it, and actually we typically would work with that firm, a very successful food service firm. This is the Oaks Golf and Country Club in Sarasota, Florida. I was a project architect on the original building, which was a 30,000 square foot clubhouse, and we subsequently have gone on and done 4 renovations to it. The big renovation were some of the earlier ones where it did go from the developer to the homeowners. And, you know, the developer put in facilities that would sell properties as opposed to maybe work for a whole club. This is 2 18-hole golf courses. They have 700 members. We ended up adding on to the dining facilities. This was a big hit. This was their grill area. And immediately what happened, everybody wanted to eat in the grill, not in the main dining room, which happens a lot. But then this is another shot of those dining facilities inside. And then this is actually the outside part of it. This was a whole wing that we added onto the original building. And subsequently, we moved on the other side the pro shop out of that wing and moved it into its own building. And there's a shot of the interiors, kind of a Ralph Lauren look to it. The pro shops, what we're finding, pro shops, whether they're owned by the pro or by the management, these days are actually doing quite well. The food service and the pro shop are revenue centers that need to be looked at very closely. This was the men's locker room, which made up the other wing along with the women's locker room. This is Laurel Oak Golf and Country Club. They had some issues with their existing dining, and they weren't able to turn enough tables in order to make their numbers work. They had the kitchen was fine. We really didn't do anything to the kitchen, but the layout itself on the furniture and really the master plan for the furniture layout just wasn't working. So we ended up adding about 12 or so feet onto, we took outdoor area and enclosed it, and even with the columns that we had, we were able to do a table setup that maximized their number of turnovers that they could get and subsequently increase their return on investment. This was the bar. This is a new bar that we did at the other end of Laurel Oak, and the bar very successful as well. This is another one of the meeting or dining facilities. We totally renovated. It had a flat ceiling before and just was not attractive. And they wanted to upscale it, so we did. This is the Lake Nona Golf and Country Club in Orlando, Florida. Actually, I was project architect on it, but it was done under the McEwen Group Architects, where I was a principal before. But this is a 40,000 square foot clubhouse outside of Orlando. We did the clubhouse and their lodge facilities as well. This is another club down in Audubon Country Club down in Naples. Main clubhouse, 40,000 square feet. This was done in the around 1990. At that time, 40,000 seemed to be the sweet spot for the developers. That's changed completely now. The clubs are much smaller, but with ancillary buildings for tennis and facilities or workout facilities and so forth. That was the gatehouse we did. So again, when we get involved, we like to start at the beginning and assess exactly what you've got and make sure that there's continual design continuity throughout. That's the back side. And even in Naples, we were able to move enough dirt around so that we had a at-grade entrance on the front side and the golf carts were down below on the back side. This is a Grassy Point guard gate down in Port Charlotte. We did the guard gate and we did the Captain's Club. I just always really liked this project. It was, there's a Captain Club on the top and the bottom there. Really was kind of patterned off some work that we had done down in Boca Grande. Always really liked the design of that. It's not a big facility, but it solved exactly what they needed. And Heron Creek is another project we did in Northport, Florida. We did all their entry gatehouses, signage, and we did their sales center, as well as we did their workout facility. This functioned as their clubhouse until the main clubhouse was done. Had a small kitchen in it, a pro shop, and the fitness center, and a small grill, some locker rooms and so forth. Ultimately, they built the main clubhouse later. This still functions as on its own small clubhouse. There's another shot of the sales center. Same. And the entry gatehouses. Just some of this is the grill area and some of the fitness facilities as well. These are just some sketches that ultimately turned into a gatehouse up in Houndiers, North Carolina. I put this in, it's a small project, but a friend of mine belongs up there in North Carolina to the golf club, and they just couldn't get anybody to get them anything that they liked. So I did this quick sketch almost on a napkin and sent it up to them, and they hired us the next day, which was kind of fun. But plus I got to go up there and play golf. So anyway, just to show you, our ability to look at what our clients have, no matter region, style, or whatever, and address their issues. And we do take every club separately. We don't try to prototype and replicate things we've done before. Everyone has its own individual identity. This obviously had a mountain feel to it, and this was one of the shots after you went through the guard gate. And they had about 6 guards in this. It was one of the busier guard gates we've ever done. And there's a shot as you arrive, kind of gives you that mountain feel and blends in well with the mountains. This is TPC in Prestantia. This was their facilities for their lounge. Was totally vanilla before, not a lot of interest in it. People would come and go. The bar was way undersized, and there wasn't enough room for actually the people working there to do their job. So they said, we want a big bar. And so this was the bar we came up with and fit right in. We didn't have to do too much modification to their center core kitchen, which is behind here. But we could get about 20 or so seats at that bar. I think they had about 6 at the bar before. And that just gives you an idea of the size of the room. These are actual shots after construction was just finishing. This is just some sketch work we had done. This never got built, but it was kind of a fun project, the Partners Club. This was a company out of California. They were going to build 8 clubs throughout the United States, all in big cities. If you belong to that club, your golf clubs would be shipped to the club that you were going to be at for your next business meeting. I thought it was kind of interesting thought. They never built it, so I don't know, maybe it was a bad thought. But the clubs that we were doing had a very similar floor plan, although they changed with each one, but we took on a different venue for each of the looks. One was in Chicago, one was in LA, one was in Detroit, so they'd all look different. Again, this didn't get built, but this was a project down in Boca Grande for the Boca Bay Club, competition that we entered for CSX. I always liked the result of what we had done there, very Boca Grande sort of feel, island feel to it. This is one we're just starting to work on now, Lake Ridge Falls. This is actually not a golf country club, but just a club in Sarasota or Bradenton, Florida. And this is part of, I cut it back, but this is part of the presentation that we did. And this is similar to your situation where we're going in and we're assessing the existing facilities. We're working with their committee to find out what are the problems, what are the issues that you're having, and then we're helping them with that, and we're in the midst of putting programs together now to implement, and that's where we're combining their needs, we're combining their wants, we're improving their architecture, and as well, we're looking at their budget too. All those things need to be done at the same time. This just gives you an idea. This was our architectural assessment, the clubhouse, the pool house, and all the things that happen. I'm going to kind of go through these quickly, but maintenance items that we saw that they weren't doing. There's just some sketches we did. This was on the left was their existing entrance, and we said, for really a small amount of outlay, this could be a more attractive entrance. This is kind of an existing site plan, a proposed site plan. This gives you somewhat of an idea of how we go about taking a look at what we've got and what we think needs to be done. And I don't know how well you can see these, but existing floor plans, proposed floor plans, start to work the circulation a little better, get the facilities to work themselves, the bathrooms, the kitchens, and so forth. And then this is the proposed plan. And then some renderings. On the left is their existing grand salon, and on the right is what we'd like to enclose part of a terrace that's never used and turn it into additional dining. And there's some isometrics we did on their fitness facility. We actually go out and we get a fitness company involved. Somebody that, you can buy the stuff from them, but they will provide design services as to what you want. This was very important to this particular client, so we went to the lengths to show them exactly what they could get. and just some renderings that we did, existing site entry proposed. You know, we're very visual when it comes to trying to convey our thoughts. You know, communication is so important in what we do, and miscommunication can be the worst thing in the world that you do. We like a very informed client. We like somebody who knows exactly where we are. I learn something every day from my clients, and hopefully they learn a little bit from us. But that's kind of the Cook's tour on CMSA. We're very excited to be here. I think we could do a great job for you and your facility, and look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very much.
I'd like to do this a little different, if you guys don't mind. I would want to ask separately if there's any questions. So is there any questions from the board? Tim?
Got anything?
Great job.
Nope.
Thank you.
Okay.
With the country clubs, there's several of them over on the West Coast. Any idea what kind of dollars they're turning through their restaurant, dollar-wise?
You know, it's a matter of, I don't look at the dollar part of it. That, you know, I look at the number of tables they turn and the number of plates they serve. And
okay.
you know, it depends on the size of it.
Right.
You know, you get into some of the larger ones like the Oaks, you know, they have like 6 dining facilities there. They're probably turning about, you know, 600 plates or better, you know, a day.
Okay.
You know, I don't know a ratio, you know, as to what it is.
That answers the question I wanted, because I've been in some clubs that's got fantastic dining facilities, but nobody there.
No, that's, you know, everyone's different though. Like the Oaks, they're captured. You know, they really have, I'm not going to say a small percentage, but a pretty low percentage of outside people dining there. Mm-hmm. They've gotten to the point where they can function autonomously on their own, which is a good place to be.
That's right. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Great place to be.
Next?
Next, we also have Keith Honeycutt here from KCMH. I'm going to ask Keith to go ahead and step up to the podium. You want to talk from the mic, or you want to talk from the podium?
Yeah, this is fine. Good morning, everybody. My name is Keith Honeycutt. I'm an architect with KCMH Architects. We're located in Lakeland, Florida. And I didn't bring any pretty pictures, so I'm afraid you've got to look at me, and that's not always good. But you're just going to have to listen to me for the next 5 minutes, and then I'll take any questions anybody may have. KCMH has been in existence in Lakeland for the last 40-plus years. We've gone through several principal changes. I became a principal probably 30 years ago, maybe. I've been a Highlands County resident for the last 35 years, raised my family here, and will probably retire here. Our firm has basically done a little bit of everything. I can't stand here and show you a bunch of examples of clubhouses, golf course facilities, and such that we've done, because we really haven't. Our jobs have ranged from, for instance, industrial warehouse to all the way to private residences, to schools, to firehouses, to all kinds of other government buildings. I can say that we have worked with probably a dozen or more different governmental agencies over the last 40-plus years. Everybody from anybody in Central Florida, which would be municipalities in Polk County, Highlands County, and neighboring counties. We're very familiar with how those governmental agencies work, and have produced many successful projects for them. We've also have some experience with kitchens. We have no exact experience, to be honest, with your exact type of kitchen, but we have designed kitchens that put out 500 to 600 meals a day. And those are primarily schools, anything from an elementary school, middle school, to a high school. We've also worked with Southeastern University, a large university there in Lakeland, where we have designed some kitchen facilities for them, have worked with food service experts. The last project we did for them included a student food mall, I guess you would call it, where they brought together 4 different fast food restaurants into one space with a common dining space. There we worked with several food consultants on exactly how you serve, what equipment you buy, what utilities are required, some of the same issues that you're going to be faced with your addition and remodeling. We're excited to, again, get another job in Highlands County. We currently have over $1 million worth of work, construction value that we have designed going on in Highlands County right now. So we're very familiar with the area and very familiar with how to work with the agencies in the area. And with that, I'd like to thank you for the invitation to be here, and would certainly entertain any questions anybody may have.
Thank you. Any questions?
I don't have any.
Do I?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, guys, for giving us the presentation. Action agenda number B, resolution number 2017-02-10-06, a resolution of Sun and Lake of Sebring Improvement District to approve change order number 4 with Dalen Real Estate Development Corporation for $36,217 to install 4 variable frequency drives on the new blowers.
So this is change order number 4 for for Dalen, regarding the blower.
Just a minute. We need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So this is change order number 4 for Dalen development with the blower installation. We're proposing the purchase of 4 VFD units to go with the blowers. The VFDs will provide adjustability to the blower output. Right now, we have brand new 4 75 horsepower motors. Originally, we had 40 horsepower motors. So the airflow that's being put out by these blowers is substantially higher than what was there before. Right now, the blowers have no adjustability at all. These VFDs will allow the operators to adjust how much airflow is going into the water plant, into the sewer plants. They'll also allow some cost savings far energy-wise. Every time that these blowers turn on, they're going from 0 to 100 right away. These VFDs will allow them to increase incrementally until they need to get to that certain point and then stabilize at that set amount. Poston Engineering has provided a memorandum as well, recommending that we install the VFDs. They project that the VFDs will pay for themselves back within relatively 2 years with the cost savings that they will provide.
Is that it? Public comment?
Oh, wait a minute.
Board comment.
Oh, board, okay, I'm sorry, board first. Sorry, everybody, I'm learning.
Yeah. You want to go? Go.
Just a couple questions. One is, I noticed that in the scope of work originally, this was included. Is there a particular reason why we took it out at that time? That 36,000 roughly?
Yes, this was included at the original time. This project has been in the works for over 3 years. At the time, it's really hard to tell for us now, current management, to know what the budget constraints were at the time. I think there was just talking with Drew and looking back through some of the old plans, there was a decision made as to whether obtain 2 new blowers and 2 VFD units or 4 new blowers and no VFD units. And management at the time chose that it was a better option to go ahead and go with 4 blowers, not knowing that we would run into these problems. We were under the impression that the 75 horsepower motors would be sufficient and we wouldn't have these airflow problems. This is something that has just come up as a result of having extra horsepower.
Fine.
Anything else?
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same comment Mark did, but also, what do we need the larger pad for? What is,
So these 4 VFDs will be sitting on the pad, and they will be inside of an enclosure to keep them protected from weather elements, and they're going to be enclosed with a AC unit to keep them from overheating. So they're going to have a small window unit to keep the room in temperature control.
so the new ones are self-contained now, right? The 4 new ones that are out there are,
We don't have, no, there are no new ones.
the ones you just installed.
What's going to be housed is the VFDs, okay?
But
And
wait a
we
minute.
want to keep those cool.
No.
So that's why they have to be in a room.
All right, you just installed 4 new blowers out there, right?
No, they're not contained.
The blowers are not contained.
The blowers aren't contained.
They're exposed.
These will be.
What's inside the yellow boxes out there? A blower?
The blowers.
So those are the ones you're going to replace, right?
No.
No.
All right, I'm confused.
Drew Jones, Postal Engineering.
Yeah.
Right now, the blowers are what's already out there, and they're installed and self-contained in their own
Right.
enclosures. The VFDs are going to go, there's plans to put a cover over these blowers to help sunshade and keep the heat off of them from the sun. What the proposed plan right now is to extend that shade out a little bit more and enclose a small room to put the VFDs in, because they're very temperamental when it comes to high temperatures. So they're going to air control just the small room around the VFDs.
These are variable speed motors, right? That you're putting
The motors that
in?
we already have, yeah. The VFDs are the variable frequency drives that will control them.
Oh, okay.
It's a control.
So you're not replacing the motors?
No, no,
With
no.
variable speed motors?
No. These are just
Oh.
controllers that control the energy going to them.
All righty.
That will, this small building will go off to one side, I take it?
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
So the idea with these is to get incremental starting, so it doesn't put any pressure on.
Yeah, it'll allow it to slow start, and it'll allow them to have a control so they don't, if they want to dial back the air or increase it, because as the season goes, our flows go up and down as the residents come in and out. And this will allow them to adjust it during the season, and it'll save power on startup, so it's not doing that first.
So this basically restricts the power input to the motor?
Yeah,
Is
it's
what it's doing?
yeah,
So
it's
the motor
basically-
can't wind up as fast?
Correct.
Okay.
And this is predicted to save us roughly $36,000 in the first year?
2 years.
It's, the estimate covers it close to a year, and for just a factor of safety, we're calling it 2 years.
2 years payback?
Yeah,
And then every year after that, we're going to have initial savings?
yeah, you're going to have the savings from it as they run.
And has anybody calculated, I don't know, this building that we're housing these controllers in, we have to air condition that as well?
Just the controllers. It's like a 6x6 room that they're going to
Okay.
sit in, so it's fairly small.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Drew.
Public comment? Okay, I guess Chrissy?
Supervisor White,
Yes.
Supervisor Edgel,
Yes.
Supervisor Camp,
Yes.
Supervisor McCullough,
Yes.
President Gilpin.
Yes. Item number C, resolution number 2017-0210-07, a resolution of Sun and Lake Sebring Improvement District to purchase a 2017 Ford F-450 4x4 dump truck from Jarrett Bill Jarrett Ford for $43,259.62. Need a motion?
Motion approved.
I'll second that.
Okay. Board comment?
So this is the management's request from the board for approval of the 2017 F-450 dump truck. We did budget this item for this upcoming year. We budgeted $45,000. The purchase price that we're recommending from Bill Jarrett Ford is $43,259.62, so it's under budget. We went out and obtained, first we started with state contract from Don Reed Ford in Maitland, Florida. They came in at $41,918 just for a base standard truck, no options, no extras added on at all. And then we went out and obtained quotes from Alan J., Bill Jarrett, Bartow Ford, and Rush Enterprises to get some local vendors involved and see if we can promote some local business. We've created a schedule of values going across the board for each vendor. From looking at base prices in comparison to state, Bill Jarrett Ford did come in about $200 cheaper than the state contract pricing. Once you add on some of the options that we've requested, they're about $2,000 higher than state contract pricing, but they were cheaper across the board in relation to the other vendors. Rush Enterprises is about $300 cheaper than Bartow Ford, but they were unable to provide the options that we were looking for.
Okay.
I got a question.
I think we need a motion first.
No, I already did that. Obviously, Jarrett Ford is probably the vendor of choice, but I was looking at their quote. Every other vendor did not have an upcharge for paint or interior finishes, and Jarrett has a $425 upcharge for the exterior and $531 for the interior. I mean, that's an extra $1,000. I guess I'd question their quote. See if they could, because nobody else is quoting an upcharge for paint.
Is that on the quote with the $43,259.62? Is that where you're seeing that?
Yeah. On the left side, second item down, Oxford White, $425. Fourth item down, medium earth something, $531.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just the way that that Bill Jarrett laid out their quote. You could see their quotes a little bit more informal, I guess, than you would say than Alan J.
Well,
but I'm sure Alan J's quote has that buried in somewhere in that.
Maybe
number.
it does, but you got a foundation here to go push back a little bit and
Right.
see if you can get it down a little bit more. Oh, one more thing. Is the sides on the Ruby box, are they fixed or foldable?
They're going to be fixed.
Okay.
Didn't I read someplace in this that there was a backup camera optional?
Correct. That's one of the options that Bill Jarrett is able to provide. We tried to go to Rush to see if they could also provide that option, and they said that they were unable to do so.
That's the first dump truck I've ever heard of with a backup camera on it. Maybe
Yeah.
it's something new that is not.
We asked that question from Bill Jarrett Ford to make sure that they were able to comply with what they were saying they could. They said they've done it in the past. There's a new kit that they can provide that run that wire underneath that dump body and install that camera on the back end somewhere on the bumper or on the dump body itself. And they guarantee that it will not get damaged from debris falling out of the dump bed.
When you say they guarantee, does that mean they'll replace it if it does get damaged?
They're going to put it somewhere. They're going to put it. They assure that they're going to put it somewhere where it's not going to be affected.
It just means it's broken, Mark.
Yeah, they'll put it on the front bumper.
Yeah. And we also have a trade-in, so we're trying to cut how many vehicles we have with the district. So we'll be trading in a Ford Ranger, and they gave us a price of $2,500 for that. So that'll come off this price here.
Okay.
Because we have a vehicle that we don't use once or twice a month, and it's not really cost effective to let it sit there all the time. So we decided to cut that vehicle.
Okay.
Public comment? Anything else, guys? Okay.
Supervisor Edgel,
Yes.
Supervisor Camp,
Yes.
Supervisor McCullough,
Yes.
Supervisor White,
Yes.
President Gilpin.
Yes. Resolution number 2017-0210-08, a resolution of Sun and Lake of Sebring Improvement District to award annual contract for aquatic weed control to Lake Masters Aquatic Weed Control Incorporated for $15,400. Need a motion.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay.
The district received 3 quotes in relation to the pond maintenance. Lake Masters Aquatic Weed Control was the lowest quote at $15,400 for an annual price. This is a monthly maintenance cost, and they will maintain all the ponds on the golf course, and there is a pond or retention area off of Schumacher Road that they will also maintain for us. In 2012, the district hired in-house licensed staff to take care of this. We no longer have in-house staff for this, and we do have budget for this line item today, so we don't need a budget amendment for this. We feel that this is the most cost-efficient approach for the district right now, and so we're recommending Lake Masters.
Tanya, this is a 12-month agreement, not a monthly, correct?
It is a 12-month contract, yes.
Well, you said monthly.
Monthly maintenance, they're going to perform monthly maintenance, yes.
Okay.
So what can we expect from this service as far as the quality of the pond? Are the duckweeds all going to go away and all the algae going to go away and the water going to clear up? Is that kind of what they provide, or?
They have algae and aquatic weed control, border grass and brush control. They are going to do water testing as needed. They will provide us a report, especially in the cases where they feel that duckweed is out of control or whatever, but they will provide reports to management and any consultations that we need. So those are the services that they'll provide.
Who changed the dates on the contract?
I did, because the draft that they gave me is incorrect.
So they're going to give you a new contract?
They're going to give me a new contract with the correct dates.
Okay. That's it for me.
I don't have anything.
Anything else? Public comment?
Rick Hulbert, resident. 2 questions. One, why did we lose our licensed contractor that we had before?
That person was an employee, and that person took another position at another entity.
Okay. Do we know where?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And number 2, who is the owner of this Lake Master Aquatic Weed Control?
The representative that I talked with was Michael Martin. I don't believe he's an owner. This is a very large corporation. Lake Masters provides, weed control for all types of golf courses. If you read their reference list, they're involved quite a bit in the state of Florida. Yes. So I don't have the owners' names, but I could always look it up.
Okay. It would be nice to know who the actual local owners are. Okay?
Okay.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Daniel Payne. I'm a lifelong resident of Highlands County. I just have a real simple question, but before I ask that question, I'd like to lay down the foundation for it. The board just voted on a resolution to purchase a dump truck. In support of that resolution, there was a letter from Omar De Jesus, forgive me if I pronounce it wrong, Finance Director, to the Board of Supervisors. To quote from that letter, there's a section in it that says, as an effort to promote local vendors, additional quotes were requested from Alan J., Bill Jarrett Ford, et cetera, et cetera. From this letter, it's understanding and it's implied that there is an effort to keep the community involved with the improvements that Sun and Lakes is trying to acquire. In essence, being a partner with the community. Since that resolution is just passed, as voted upon, it seems to stand that there is an effort to promote local vendors. Now, what brings me to my questions here is that on February 6, 2017, there was a letter from Tanya Kennedy, General Manager to the Board of Supervisors, that said, quote, "The district determined that hiring an outside contractor to perform these services was a more effective approach than to fill the vacant position at this time." I think that's absolutely a golden way of approaching things. Sometimes it's better to just outsource, where those people are better equipped and better trained and more familiar with the work being done. Where this letter runs into a problem and is in direct contradiction to the motion that just passed with an effort to promote local vendors is that the district received 3 quotes, one from Earth Balance, one from Aquatic Weed Control, and one from Lake Masters Aquatic Weed Control Incorporated. None of those vendors are local. They're based in Orlando, Tampa, throughout the state. No one local here was even offered an opportunity to bid on those items. That is in direct contradiction to what was just passed upon in that motion. Now, since the essence of that letter to the district was to be more cost effective, well, that might be a more cost effective approach to go get contractors. But isn't it more reasonable, isn't it rational to assume that it would even be more cost effective if we looked in our own backyard first before we solicited outside folks? Because common sense is going to dictate that if I have to transport men, materials, personnel, whatever, from across county lines, those costs are going to get passed on to the consumer. And those costs are going to be passed on to the residents of Sun and Lakes. They're going to be paying the bill. Due diligence dictates that we have to look over every item and every stone. You may not find the best quality services here, and that's fine. But not even attempting to look for those options here, that's not serving the citizens of Sun and Lakes. So my question is, what rationale is the board going to apply with regard to aquatics, the weed control item?
Thank you. Daniel?
Yes, Lake Masters has a lot of history here in the district. Apparently, they used to work here in the district off and on for the last 20 years. We felt that it's the most reputable company. Mr. Hurley and his staff, they received quotes, and these are the 3 quotes that were provided to me for recommendation today.
We advertised that for this job.
No, in this case, we just received quotes since it's below the $25,000 threshold.
Okay.
Any other comments? Okay. Does that answer it?
Not entirely, because I think the folks out here that are paying their tax bills need to get the benefit of the bargain. And again, it goes back to that previous argument that how are they knowing that that's the best price they can get? And the way cost of living goes up every day of every year, I think they have a vested interest in knowing that and overlooking other options that are available to the district and employees of the district. I think that's not an appropriate way of conducting business. But
Okay.
that's up to them and how it's going to be done. That's my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jim Kurtzborn, General Manager, Sun and Lake Golf Club. Lake maintenance on golf courses is a service. It's an expertise. It's not buying a truck. We do try to do things locally, but I worked with Tanya in researching these vendors. We reached out to Mike Stevens and other people in the Billy Casper network for recommendations relative to the lake maintenance. Is anyone aware of a lake maintenance company that's local that does golf courses, regionally, that has a reputation in the Highlands County area? Because I'm not aware of one.
Tanya?
Mr. Gilpin, I'm sorry. I was going to mention that Jim and I have worked on this as well, or he took the lead on calling the references of the 3 companies that we have here today.
Okay.
But we do make this effort. In my report, we'll see that we've found a local pump company that's doing a lot of our pump work. So we try to work locally, but lakes are a touchy thing. There's a lot of expertise involved. The chemicals are a large part of the money, so the companies are always trying to balance the chemicals. And basically, to your duckweed problem, what happened there was we didn't have the chemical in stock. We had too big of a delay. It's not something that would have happened as easily with an outside contractor with more expertise. And that's why we're a little bit behind the 8 ball with the lake companies. So one of the reasons to go with Lake Masters is they have a wide band of expertise that doesn't guarantee, but should, with the experience we've seen at other courses, make them more capable of providing the service. But we do want to do local, but you need to get the best product. That's what we're looking for.
Okay. Anything else from the board?
No.
Chrissy?
Supervisor Camp?
Yes.
Supervisor McCullough?
Yes.
Supervisor White?
Yes.
Supervisor Edgell?
Yes.
President Gilpin?
Yes. Agenda number F, discussion request for indemnification. I'm going to remove this from the agenda today. Okay. Is there any add-on items?
No, sir.
Petitions and communications.
Yes, we do have one.
Okay.
Sorry, let me get there. We have a communication to the board from Stan Paralakis. He is making a statement about the use of golf carts on public roads within Sun and Lake. He is, aware that we are a golf cart community, but he has expressed his concerns here in this letter.
Is there any comment?
I guess I have one, or maybe two, and it should probably be directed to Dave. In his letter, item number 1, it says it is illegal, as it is illegal to be in the traffic circle. Is that a true statement?
Not exactly. The district has the ability, because it controls its own roadways, to allow golf cart use, and it has done that. However, the county controls Sun Lake Boulevard. I have already talked to the county attorney and the county engineer, and while it is not illegal, it is also not technically legal based on the current, I guess, I don't know what the best way to put it is, but the current wording on the books. But with my discussion with the county attorney and the county engineer, they're remedying that situation. So it's just a matter of semantics, quite honestly.
I just want to make sure that there's no liability on our part.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Any other comment? Nope. Okay. Staff reports.
Good morning, Tennille Jory Smith, Community Services Director. We've been having a busy month so far in the Recreation Department. Last Friday, we held a community CPR class. We tend to do this once a year. We had 10 residents come out and they all got certified for CPR, and we'll look to doing this again in the future. We had the new residents and visitors reception here at Island View on Tuesday evening. We had about 30 attendees. We had our pickleball tournament Wednesday. We had about 18 teams, and it lasted till about 3:30. which was great. The games were very close, which made for a long day, but we had 2 brackets. We had an upper level bracket and a lower level bracket, and first and second places in each of those. And it was a great day. And we had several teams from outside Sun and Lake, which is what we like to see, bringing them new people, new faces. We have our annual Dash and Die coming up here in April 15th. And right now, as most of you probably are aware, we have the community survey out and about, where we put it in the newsletter, this coming newsletter. There's going to be an actual hard copy that people can turn in if they choose not to go online. But we encourage everyone to go to snldistrict.org. It's right on the home page. Take them just a few minutes to fill out that survey. So far, we've gotten 45 surveys to date. So I think it's a great start. For the RV and boat survey that's gone out, I've received 29 calls or emails with people who have boats or RVs that are definitely in favor of moving forward with this project. Amongst the surveys I received, which that question's on the survey as well, we've received 4 yeses that have boats and RVs. I've received several other yeses, but they don't necessarily have a boat or RV. They're just in favor of the project. So I think that's looking like it's going to be a good project if we decide to move forward with it. So other than that, I think that's just about it.
Tennille, I want to tell you, I got 2 people come up to me about the pickleball tournament, and they told me you and Jonathan were excellent. So, very good.
Thank you. I can't say that I can take much credit for it because Jonathan really
Well, they mentioned you
takes
both.
charge. So I appreciate that, but I'm going to pass the buck on to Jonathan because he does a great job. But thank you very much for passing that along.
Okay.
And I've had people come up to me about the new residents meeting that we all went to and talked to them and so forth. And that was a hit. You got that one right. I mean, those people all now know what's going on, who to go to. They know our faces, the whole deal. And those new residents really enjoyed that. Really did.
Thank you very much. We do have one that just
You got one here.
came this morning, so appreciate you coming and taking part in the community activities.
Kurt, Mark, anybody? Okay.
Jim Kurtzborn, General Manager, Sun and Lake Golf Club. We're in high season. The golf courses are in excellent shape. We've had our pump repair on Turtle Run, and that's fully operational. We're in the process of finishing up our repair on Deer Run. We've got Ron Garl to come in. He's scheduled. We're working on trying to get his first site visit arranged to come in and look for our tea project. We're in the planning processes for our summer cultural practices. We did Liz Barber, who we did pick up, who had previously been the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. Her replacement for the chamber didn't work out so well, so they actually came back at her with an enhanced package that Liz has accepted. So she has tendered her resignation effective February the 22nd, and we're in the process of advertising that opening. The golf course is operating well year over year. Relative to the previous year, we're actually $77,000 ahead of last year's experience. $30,000 of that is increased revenue, and $47,000 of that is savings in payroll and expenses. Are there any questions of the golf operation?
Does that can cover food and beverage?
Yes, sir. I do have this.
Okay. Well, and this is just one statement. Someone came up last night and gave me a receipt that they got when they got some things in there. I can't understand it. They can't understand it. Is there some way of simplifying? I mean, this thing's got prices on here for, what's a rock pour?
Sure. A rock pour is when, that's when there's just ice and alcohol. So it's extra alcohol.
So it's, okay, for 93 cents? I mean, what I'm saying, Jim, is you and I look at these things all the time. is there any way that those things can be simplified? I mean, when people get a receipt, they have no idea what this means.
Sure. We can take a look into it.
If you would, I mean, just
Sure.
to simplify it, and maybe flat rate some things, or, you know, $2 for beer, $3 for a drink. Some way to solidify it. For me, you know, I don't drink or anything, but
Yeah.
much. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Mike Curley. Though on security, watch orders are way down. A lot of people are back. The public, our maintenance billing is a little behind, but not too much. A couple of weeks, I think. I know a lot of you's been over there to look at it. I think we're going to start the pour Tuesday or Wednesday. I thought it was going to be this week, but I was told on yesterday morning it'll be Tuesday or Wednesday. So we are on schedule. The one thing I want to say is, anytime that we go out and get quotes, we try to get quotes from everyone that we know of. And we did work on this project that Tanya and Jim talked about. We try to go out and get the best price for Sun and Lake. So including the truck, we try to go out and get the best price for what we spend. So any other questions about reports?
Omar De Jesus, Finance Director. I prepared a small presentation for the first quarter financials. They were included in your consent agenda for the Golf and Treasurer's Report. So we'll go ahead and do it fund by fund. We'll start with the general fund and then move our way through. We'll start with the revenues. Right now, we're a quarter of the way in through the year. We're expecting our target market to be around 25%. Obviously, assessments are our largest revenue stream for the general fund. Currently, up to date, we've collected $2.28 million in assessments. As of last year, as of December 31st, we had collected 2.3, so we're about $30,000 behind in collection on assessments this year in comparison to last year. We're working on getting some of our larger, commercial properties. We've had a few that have recently transitioned with closings, and we're trying to get those funds to come in. Those will really change the tables as to where we stand with assessments. Overall, right now we've collected total revenue for the general fund, $2.34 million in revenue. I think the bottom portion is getting off. Last year we collected 2.35, so once again, you can see the correlation between the assessments being down 30,000. Overall, we're down about 26,000 in comparison to last year in total revenue. Expenditures, once again, our target percentage should be somewhere around 25% expenditures as of right now. We have about 3 different departments which are slightly above, so we'll keep an eye on them as the year progresses to make sure we stay within budget. And so the community services, recreation, and finance are slightly above in expenditures. We've done a lot of expenses in the last couple of months regarding the parade, and we had real estate taxes, so those are departments that are a little bit higher than expected. Excess over revenue, which is our net income for the general fund. Right now we're at 1.7 million in excess in net income. Last year to date we're at 1.4, so it shows that we're spending a little bit less to offset that $30,000 decrease in revenue. Reserves, we haven't used any reserves, but we have transferred out or encumbered $184,000 regarding golf operating capital transfers out to the golf fund. That results in the overall net change in fund balance of $1.5 million for the general fund. Here are some of the capital projects that we've done so far. We've completed the playground project. We have purchased the new F-150 for security. We've installed new camera systems at the district office. And we've done obviously some golf maintenance equipment that we've purchased so far. Utility fund, our utility fund is still progressing good, and 25% once again is our target market. we're at 26%. Our total revenues as of right now is $587,000. Last year, we're about $550,000, so we're about $30,000, a $34,000 increase in comparison to last year. Expenses, our expenses today are $573,000. In comparison to last year, we're at $400,000. So we have a $172,000 increase in comparison as of December 31st. Once again, we have the blower project that's really been substantial for the utility fund this year in the first quarter. Our net income right now is $13,000. Last year at this point, we had $150,000 in net income, so which is the $130,000 difference, a decrease for the utility fund. One thing that I would like to point out in the utility fund is our other revenues, which are impact fees and investment earnings. We've seen a big jump in impact fees, which is showing a lot of development going on here in Sun Lake this year. This year we have $16,000 in revenue coming in from impact fees and investments. Last year today we only had $9,000, so it's a $7,000 increase in those two line items. Overall net income and loss, we're at $30,000 this year in comparison to $161,000 last year as of this date. Some of the projects that are going on in the utility fund, we're doing the blower installation at Unit 23. We've completed the Northeast Drainage Basin project. The emergency generator purchase was completed. We did purchase the utility department a leak detection camera system that allows them to inspect any breaks that might happen at resident homes, and some other equipment like a utility vehicle that we purchased for utility. Golf fund, overall, gross revenues have increased by $30,000. Cost of sales have decreased by $14,000, which has increased their overall gross margin by $46,000 this year. Expenses, you can see they're saving some money in payroll, golf operations, and general administrative. You can see there's a little bit of reduction, overspending going on in comparison to last year in food and beverage, amenities, and sales and marketing. Overall net operating loss last year as of this date, as of December 31st, was $75,000. They're at a profit of $5,400 this year. So it's an $81,000 swing in comparison to last year. Overall net income and loss, once again, last year we had a $75,000 loss as of December 31st. This year we have a net income of $5,400. Any questions?
Anything, guys?
Nope, fine.
Omar, I have noticed that there's been, seems to be a lot more construction going on than in past years, so that's a good sign. So, General Counsel report.
We have mediation on the Griffin matter, court-ordered mediation on Valentine's Day, the 14th. Tanya and I will be going down Fort Pierce with Mr. Koji as well, and that'll be in front of an administrative law judge. And if we're lucky, it'll be settled and over. But we'll see. I did the full litigation and foreclosure report will be at the meeting in 2 weeks. But I did do looking into Ayala. And I had told you at the last meeting that we were going to be having a case management conference on March 1st. The district's litigation counsel had submitted a motion to the court that requesting that it not be required to appear at the case management conference since there's been no ruling by Judge Cowden and Judge Radin, the judge that was, should have been at the hearing but was out sick. Granted that motion, so there will not be a case management conference on the 1st, but hopefully that makes both judges aware that we're awaiting a ruling, and hopefully that'll expedite the situation.
Any questions? Nope. Okay. General Manager's report.
The Highlands County new trash and recycle program has launched a website for the residents to assist them in the transition of this new collection. It's www.highlandstransition.com, and the garbage and recycling will be picked up here in the district once a week on the same day. We just don't know what day it is yet. So Tennille is working hard to find out information as we can get it, and also Bob Brumfield, because we know when the trash receptacles and the recycling bins are all delivered, we will probably receive, many, many calls. So we
Yes,
want to
I'm
be
sure who will.
prepared. We want to be prepared. We'd like to, find out as soon as we can what day that will be, or it might be over, several days. The district has sold a vacant lot on Nada Street for $5,500. Just a quick billboard update. As you recall, our billboard at the northeast corner of the district was removed by Florida Department of Transportation, and this was an error, and they have admitted the error. We are working with them now for a reimbursement so that we can build a brand-new billboard. But that does affect our advertising, because we did advertise our programs, our restaurant, our golf in the district, and it's been removed without our knowledge. So they are working with us on that. As for the maintenance facility, Mike mentioned that the concrete should be laid on Tuesday. The gas tanks that were there, they did pass the inspection. There was no gas that did leak into the ground, so the gas tanks have been cleaned. We feel like they're valuable, and we want to put that on our surplus list. So we'll bring that list to you at the next board meeting.
Very good.
That's all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any questions? Unfinished business.
None?
New business.
No.
Committee reports. Public comment.
None. No, I was going to say no committee reports today.
Okay. Okay, public comment.
Good morning. Bill Norcross, resident. I just have a comment about the purchasing of the dump truck. I'm glad Mike Hurley has done his due diligence, and I appreciate getting quotes from different companies and trying to get the best value for your money, and turning in extra vehicles that are not in use and getting some kind of credit. Now, I did talk with Tanya, I believe last week, and I just happened to mention that several drainage projects are becoming a problem, very expensive. And I said, why? Well, you could just alleviate a lot of problems if you had a grade-all. And she said that we don't have a grade-all. And I just quite don't understand, with all the work and all the drainage projects and the outside vendors, some thought could be given to having a grade-all in-house so that we could take care of these and save some money. Eventually, we would. And also, consider at the end of Route 27 and 4, there's a huge equipment sale place. Now, maybe you can pick up a grade-all, not a new one, but maybe some thought could be given to spending some money so that we can do these drainage projects in-house and get them done for the people that want to have these things done. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Good morning, Gene Gann, Jemmy resident. Just a couple points. Did the board approve the action agenda? That was approved, seconded and approved, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you get down to item F, Mr. President, you pulled that off the approved agenda?
Yes.
Do you need a vote to do the motion to do that?
Dave?
No, there was a motion and second to approve the consent agenda. The action agenda is prepared by the president and general manager, so the president has the right to pull that off. No, there's no motion and second to approve the action agenda.
Okay. The other item I have is, on February 7th, the Highlands News issued in their editorial a really eye-awakening article about the cost of lawsuits in the district. And I went back and I'm trying to find out exactly how much money we have spent on legal expenses for the supervisors that have been involved in issues that came up. And I can't seem to find it. And even in the general fund expenditures report today, all I see is legal fees general for $160,000, foreclosures for $40,000, and something was cleared up last year, Thompson, for nothing. So I'm trying to determine how much money have we put in the budget to cover the legal expenses of the supervisor lawsuits.
I'm assuming what you're speaking of is the Sunshine Law violation
Sunshine Law,
allegations? The
And
district
Griffin
spent
lawsuit.
over $100,000 in legal fees. Not this fiscal year, though. It was in the previous 2 fiscal years.
Okay. And based on that, where are we going to get the money? We have to put another budget line item to pay for legal fees for this year?
Those are finished. The Sunshine Law allegations?
Yes.
Those have been finished, Mr. Ganjimi.
Okay.
So we don't have any current expenses.
Okay. Do you happen to know just a rough estimate of what that cost us? At some point in time, you can let me know. I'm not, you know, let the public know how much those lawsuits cost us.
Over $100,000.
$100,000.
Yes.
Okay. The other question I have is part of the article in the newspaper. Quote says that the supervisors were informed that there was no sunshine, there was no issues that resolved on the Whistleblower Act. They were informed that Mr. Griffin wasn't protected by that. And I just wanted to try to find out who informed them that employees are not affected by whistleblowers. They're not protected by Whistleblowers Act. Anybody know how that happened or who informed them?
Dave?
I can check into it, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, it just seems that the article points it out, but it's tough getting the answers. But you know, we've gone through in the last couple of years a number of resolutions that were enacted to protect the Board of Supervisors. And some have 1 case, some have 2 cases, and some have 3 lawsuits. So I'm just wondering, you know, when new board members come aboard, that they afford the opportunity to look into some of the regulations, sunshine laws, and things of that nature, and not to express their opinion, maybe to the newspaper.
Gene, in answer to that question, we just had a sunshine law training thing a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, you did. Were you given a sunshine law training before, right after you took the position on the board?
Yes, I think
Yes.
everybody has been.
Yes, we
and
did.
above.
Had it.
Everybody did? Okay.
Yes.
Is that memorialized in any type of document in their folder, that they have the training?
In the minutes to the meeting?
Minutes
It was
to-
after a regular board meeting.
Mhm.
That's fine. Okay.
It's
That's it.
time,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Jimmy. Oh, you're good.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I
You
was just
good?
saying your time's up.
Time is up. In more ways than one.
Good morning, Pat Holmes, resident. I got a couple questions. I read this morning's paper about bicycles on sidewalks, and I was always under the impression that bicycles were allowed on sidewalks. What is the ruling on that? I know the Clark Memorial sidewalk is multi-purpose, but how about the rest of the sidewalks in Sun and Lake? That's one question I have. the second question I have is when we see workers out there spraying chemicals all over the golf course with no respirators on. I brought this up one other time, and they said there's no problem on that. The chemicals we use won't hurt anything. But I'll tell you what. Whenever I'm downwind, I hack and cough like crazy. I think that maybe those chemicals are obstructive to each one of us. And my third point is garbage collection that is going to start in February. I live in a condominium, and we have 23 units. What's going to happen with those 46 garbage cans that we get delivered? So that's some points of thought. That's all I've got. Thank you.
You want to comment?
Can I make a comment? We have one multi-use path in the district, and it's on Sun and Lake Boulevard. And you are allowed golf carts, bicycles. It can be used for walking. But as far as sidewalks, just our basic sidewalks everywhere else, we can look into that. I honestly don't know the rules if bicycles are allowed or not on the sidewalks. So we'll look into it.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more public comment? Okay. Discussion to and from the board.
Yeah, I'll bring up a couple of things here that we've been working on, and I want Tennille to help me on this. We had another marketing meeting, of course, of our group, and I talked to the people, and she can go over those points. I talked to the people the other night, the new people that we were visiting with, how they found out about Sun Lake. Was trying to find most of it. They were a friend introduced them to Sun and Lake, and that's exactly how I got here. And so, I think we need to start preaching to the choir. We need to start getting our people to spread the word when they go back home and so forth like that. So I got a plan for that for our next marketing meeting to get to our members, to find more members. Okay, but you have anything to say about the meeting we had?
Everyone that attended, this was probably one of the smallest groups that I've had since I've been here. That was my fourth new residents and visitors reception, but I don't know. It was just it was a great group of people. I don't know any more to say. That it was just a wonderful group of people. I will say that in one of our questions in our survey, there's two questions that people can elaborate on, how they feel. And the biggest comment, or the most common comment I've seen, what do you like best about Sun and Lake? And it's the people. That is the number one comment. So I think that brings true testament to what you're saying is, word of mouth in any business or entity is your number one seller. So I definitely agree with that point.
Yeah, well, I have that on the agenda for our next meeting to start working on that aspect of it. The other thing about the boat and RV storage, I got a couple of stories to tell you on that. I was in the restaurant the other night, and a couple of ladies came over and sit down and started asking me, why in the world, Wally, are you going to build a trailer park in Sun Lake? And I said, what do you mean a trailer park? She said, well, they tell us you're going to let people bring in trailers and open up a trailer park in Sun Lake. And I said, who told you that? Well, they said it. Somebody said this, and they said that. And I said, well, the two biggest liars in the world are somebody and they. So please, if you can get the word out, this is a storage, RV and boat storage area. And I'm not opening up a trailer park. Okay, and it's not me, it's the board, so they take blame on this too. But we visited, Mike and I visited some storage areas. We got some really good information. We got some design things we're working on. We think we know about what size we can get started now since we've got our results in from the surveys. It's larger than I thought. So Mike and I are still working on trying to find the correct sizes and so forth. We found out what some other people are charging. They have storage areas, and it gives us an idea how large to make the area and so forth. So that's coming along real well. And I'll put my trailer park downtown somewhere. That's it. Thank you.
Mark?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
Yeah. Kurt?
Yeah, at the last meeting, I brought up my concern about building restrictions within the district, and you guys said you were going to start looking into that, so got any updates on that?
Yes, we got we had done some title searches on some property that the district was looking to sell, and there is, I think that's the one that you're already aware of, though, the 1,000 square foot minimum on the golf course. That's the only thing that I could find that's district-wide.
The county doesn't have anything either?
Well, the county's land use regulations, but that's all by zoning, and so there's nothing that would be specifically district-wide because of the different zoning zones and zoning methodologies within the district.
So what can we do to fix that? To me, 1,000 square foot house is not a good road we want to go down in the future, I would say.
And that deed restriction was from 1973 that he found. So what Mr. McCullough is saying, that we don't have a district-wide deed restriction on the size house that you can build here.
So, the craze right now is these tiny homes. I mean, somebody could build a tiny home, 1,000 square foot, bring it in here, put it on a foundation, and it's legal, according to what you're telling me. Which, I don't like my vision of that isn't a good one, I guess. So, so I guess my next question is, what can we do district-wide to elevate the minimum square footage on building a home in the district?
I'll have to check into that. I don't know that there's an easy answer to that. But I will also check on the land use regulations for the residential zonings, so I can potentially have an answer about whether or not the tiny housing is something that could conceivably happen here.
Yeah.
I do have a quick update from Mr. Tony Felice. He made a comment at the last board meeting about the Deer Run Homeowners Association and the deed restrictions. Back in 2013, under the Fifth Third Settlement Agreement, there were an additional 270 lots that we owned in Unit 16, Deer Run, that now have those deed restrictions. So that is an additional, now we don't own all those lots anymore. Most of them will be escheated to the county, but those lots have deed restrictions under Deer Run as well as the original. So we don't have those on a map. I mean, they are within the legal description, but we do know that at least we do have another 270 in Unit 16.
All right.
Okay.
Wait for an update.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a couple things. Jim, I kind of agree with Wally. I had somebody just the other day hand me a bill that on the right-hand side it had 360 and 367, or twice that, and their bill was $11. And then we were trying to add it up, and we looked over to the left, and there was like a ice charge, a water charge or something. And I just think whatever you're going to, it'd be simpler if you just had a drink charge. I mean, if you get a certain drink, it's so much, and just charge it. I mean, it was real confusing. And I told him to go to Mark, because Mark a couple years ago I know had problems with the ice and the water and so on and so forth, but I had no idea. But I just think if a shot is a certain amount of money, just charge it. And that way you don't get this confusion. The piece of equipment that Bill mentioned, Mike, do we have people that could operate that if we did that?
We've been looking into actually what Bill was talking about.
Oh, we are? Okay.
We would probably have to train a person, and we probably have one in-house.
Okay.
We have 3 or 4 employees that are really, they can operate just about anything, and I think with a little training, they could do it, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you're looking to cost and so on, so, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
we have been. Thank you.
Yeah, I knew it would be. Yeah.
Very high. I don't care if it is.
Yeah. And Tanya, what is the next step now on the clubhouse after we after we've heard this?
The next step would be to choose one of the two from our presentations today. We'd like to bring a resolution to the Board of Supervisors at the next meeting on the 24th of February. Once a selection is made, one of the two, then the next step would be to have a workshop with that architect.
Okay. And then you'll be meeting with us separately and asking us who we want? Is that?
We can talk about any concerns or questions you have individually, and I can always reach out to the architects if you
Okay.
have any questions, yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Well, let me ask you something. If once you have that meeting, it will be more or less a needs assessment, won't it? Will we have food and beverage there as long as the supervisors and,
Yes.
and the chef?
Yes, the workshop will, I would hope Kevin is our, that we definitely want his feedback on this, so he would be at that meeting as well, yes.
Yeah, CMSA actually dropped off a clubhouse design guideline that everyone would fill out with what they're looking for, what they'd want. Kevin would fill one out, the Board of Supervisors would fill one out. Everyone on the committee would fill one of these out and hand it back in. That's their procedure on how they would proceed with the project.
Okay.
Okay. Thank everyone for attending. Adjourned.
You may want that back on.
It looks pretty nice.
It looks pretty nice. It looked pretty nice when I come in there.
Well, that's true. I was about ready to put it on and the heat kicked in.
Well, I'll tell you what, I
How you doing?
Yeah.
Starting to.
I would hope they
Yeah,